So I'm Ray, and this is Sketchbook Tour 4, I think. Um, the last one was high school and college stuff. There's a little bit of college work in here, but mostly the early aughts after I moved across the country. I didn't use a sketchbook for a while, and I was going to just go ahead and go to the next sketchbook and let it skip over a large period. And then I was like, oh yeah, I got this massive binder thing that is mostly what I used during the early aughts. So it's a little different than the sketchbook tours because it is organized in sections. There are some sections I will not be showing. And I think there's a little bit of my wife's work in here too. But I thought this would be a good enough stand-in for a sketchbook. And I'll go section by section. Like I said, I may be skipping a few sections, but yeah, there's not an insubstantial amount of stuff in here, and it's not all art. There's some other oddball stuff here. This is possibly the best, most personalized birthday card my mother ever sent me. Good pick there, Mom. Which has a bunch of stuff inside of it. Probably not 100% accurate. I think this was my probably from memory map of trying to describe the area I grew up in. I mean, it's not bad. Where I actually grew up is Bellingham, Washington, right here. But obviously I was trying to describe the surrounding area. I don't know if Baker might be a little bit closer. Mount Culshan. The fault line, I think my wife and I, we were talking at one point about tidal waves, the concern of tidal waves where I grew up. And I said, the fault line is out in the ocean, and there's so many islands in between there and Bellingham that it would probably break up a tidal wave unless it was truly monumental before it hit us. Which, we had plenty of earthquakes up there. I felt it was a fairly safe area. That's, not counting the fact that a number of these are volcanoes, one of which went off when I was 2 years old. Mount Baker is, in fact, a volcano as well. We used to go there on the regular when I was growing up. Some old stickers. Hopefully the neighbor's lawnmower noise won't... I don't know what happened there. Won't get picked up too badly. This is my wife's art, but it's a child version of my character Mitchell and Courtney Crummer, who she used to play a lot. And we do a lot of little personalized Valentine cards and stuff. I think I talked about Osen in a previous video because I had one of her character sheets. I think that my now wife and I were visiting back there, back in Bellingham, and did a short campaign while visiting, and there's some Osen's inventory list from that game. Instruction sheet for a plastic bug thing that I don't have anymore. A label for probably a zip disk. Okay, this is adorable. This is from my wife. And boy, this is dated. Because this is a note wishing me luck for my job interview at Hollywood Video. Yeah, we'd only been together for less than a year at this point, but we've been together for over 25 years now. You can see the signs that it was a good relationship from the get-go. But yeah, this is wishing me luck for my interview at Hollywood Video. folder almost fell, which was like my very first job after I moved out here. I worked there for 6 months or less, and then went to Radio Shack, which is also a job that dates me. More artwork by my wife. Don't ask. I think I did mention the aardvark thing before. Yes. A song that I have worked on periodically over the years, the No Real Excuse Blues. Done to the classic blues tune that goes da 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 da. So, yeah. Wow, there's more of her art in here than I expected. That's a self-portrait, though. God, with my perm growing out, I guess. Probably early Radio Shack days, just based on the clothing. Not very gender there. This is my wife's art, but it's of my character, who is nicknamed Silence. He doesn't really have a name. Hopefully there will be other art of him in here somewhere. An attempt at a sort of a stained glass looking thing on vellum that I never finished. There's probably going to be a lot of unfinished artwork in here. But, you know, you can see what I was going for. Very Art Nouveau picture frame there. Oh, why did the neighbors decide to mow the lawn just then? I think this was going to be a portrait of a character of mine named Persephone, who's a witch with a snaky thing. The colored version, is on my DeviantArt profile, but it is Magneto reflecting on his time in the concentration camps. I have always liked Magneto. I have liked the callback to serious real world history, and the reflection there. You can see here's an earlier sketches for it. You can really see for a while there, you know, I was really reading Marvel Comics in the 90s, and you can really see the reflection of the Marvel style line work evocative of that area. Not Rob Liefeld, hopefully, because dear Lord, his proportions are insane. But yeah, just that kind of style that they were using back then. I had definitely picked up because I read a lot of Marvel Comics then. Oh gosh. This is, a lot of these things were scanned and turned into digital art, so that's why it's just the line work. But this was for Owen and Puck Paper Dolls for the monthly Gargoyles contest. I got it on that website right towards the end. This was, I believe, a commission for somebody of the original character. Again, it got colored on the computer. This is my sketchwork for it, trying to determine what pose they liked best for the final. Really some good, solid gesture drawing going on there. I'm guessing I was maybe looking at photo reference of people doing martial arts. You know, definitely was working on a lot of gesture drawing and stuff in that era. This is the pencils for there is a finished piece. It's the Mad Hatter talking to time over tea, and there's a finished colored pencil piece that's very, very nice. I was very proud of it. I do not know why there is the chibi Shabranigdo in the corner from Slayers. I'm not sure how he ended up on there. That was my cat Squeaks. She must have been doing a pose. I'll bet you anything. Well, I was going to make a bet, but I changed that bet. I think that's probably supposed to be Silence riding a horse. I think this was going to be a furry portrait of my wife. Didn't get very far. I think I've talked about the muse and the fortune teller before. Sooner or later, I should show the actual sculptures on the video. They're high up on a bookshelf, a little tricky to reach right now. But that is the muse dancing. Sketch for unfinished art of some Dark City characters. My character Rat. This is also Rat. You'll see a lot of stuff in this folder is grouped by character. So once you see one picture of them, you're going to probably see a bunch of pictures of them. Trying to get his face down. He is very face. He has a very nose forward face. The Headless Horseman, just chilling. Oh, I'm kind of sorry I didn't finish this, but it's so creepy looking with just the one eyeball done. But that is, I believe, supposed to be Benny and Ardith Bay from The Mummy. With just Benny's just got one eyeball. Oh, that is creepy. Unintentionally creepy. I just hadn't finished it. Some hands. Again, this is the early aughts. Not bad. Definitely going for some stylized stuff here, but not bad at all. I've always been relatively decent at hands. People say hands are like the worst, hardest thing. Shan Yu. I know there's some more Shan Yu art further in here. Oh, a comic I never finished, but I had in mind. And honestly, this was probably back when I was a relatively new driver. But yeah, the Traffic Signal Avenger, you know, to this day, I would certainly maintain there are a lot of people out there on the road who need to retake driver's ed. I'm sure everybody who drives would agree with me. Oh gosh, that is an old character, the Black Warlock, and I do not remember his lady friend's name. They're not romantically involved. The Black Warlock honestly was kind of based off of Strahd, from the like Forgotten Realms D&D stuff. That's kind of where the idea came from. Similar setup. And then this is one of my wife's characters that was visiting them. It's from a role play. But it would have been very striking because they're all in like black and red and everything in the castle's black and red and she was in white. I really like the framing there with her stepping into the door frame. It's kind of nice compositionally. You have the big old medieval tapestries on the wall. Some of this art is old enough I can look at it and be okay with it. I do not remember her name, and I'm very sorry for that. His name was Illumide. Both of these were some people that I worked with when we were doing a puppet show. I did the shadow puppets for it. The first year I created the shadow puppets, and the second run they did, I actually performed them for Barefoot Puppets up in Vienna, Virginia. It was called Tales Under the Baobab Tree. Illumide was the drummer narrator. Those are some sketches of my character, the librarian. Yes, that's all he's got. He doesn't have a proper name. Probably we'll see more art of him. I think I was trying to go for some kind of a banding or a tattoo or whatever because he was like a slave pit fighter when he was younger. I guess it's just double page. Also digitally colored on my old DA page. That is Owen Burnett in a teleporting circle thing, teleporting to the Fey world. On Samhain Eve. It was actually part of a short story that I wrote. And the fist is he did have the stone fist at that point in things. I was a big Owen Burnett fan in Gargoyles. Unfinished art of the white Daniel version of the Sandman. Was going to be playing chess and talking with Matthew. That was the conversation. that was going to be happening. That appears to be fan art for the Neil Gaiman story Stardust. This is the star meeting the lady who is the main character's mother, who was turned into a bird for a while. I do not remember the names, but if you're familiar with Neil Gaiman's work at all, then you'll probably know who I'm talking about. Love Neil Gaiman stuff. Don't want to give him any more of my money these days. Neil Gaiman fans know what's down. Definitely drawings of my own hand, right hand, because I'm left-handed. But yeah, just, life drawings. Fuzzy. His name is Daniel. God, more Sean Yu art. I kind of like Sean Yu, guys. You might have figured that out. I have some portraits of Bast and Anubis in this style. I don't know that this was supposed to be Bast specifically, but, something along those lines. Triple goddess thing going on there. Some gesture sketches. Again, we have with the only one eyeball thing going on here. That is my old fanfic character Raven Dreamwalker and my wife's old character Ginny, who has a D burned on her chest there. Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. Probably was watching the movie and just sketching. One eyeball. Oh, this was some weird creepy dream imagery and I never finished it, but yeah, there was some creepy shit going on there. Courtney Crumrin and our fan character familiar for her, the three-legged catfisher. Yes, three-legged, one eye, 1.5 ears. Exactly the kind of familiar she deserves. Scruffy little street cat. I don't know, it's a griffin, a hippogriff, I guess. Chibi versions of my characters DS and TC, Terrence Colburn, and Damien Stockholm. I think this was for a costume that I made for a friend. I was just making note of the trim. It's probably some anime that I'm not familiar with. It's supposed to be some Halloween picture. I don't know if it was going to be an actual skeleton or a person painted like a skeleton or somewhere halfway in between. Bunch of sketches. I'm not even going to try and explain because it's just a bunch of sketches. The guy I mentioned before, Illumide, I actually did business cards for him at one point. So this was like some proofs and deciding on final stuff. My graphic design degree has come in helpful occasionally. I must have taken photos or something for it to be... Or no, wait, it is the right hand again. Never mind. Yeah, studies of my own right hand again. Mouse and Wrath. Being spooky. I think this is supposed to be Courtney and that catfisher as a human. Kind of creepy. This was a study of... It was supposed to be the characters from some old short stories that Ursula Vernon was writing. Speaks to Trees, I think, was the elf, and then Ceylon, maybe, was the orc woman. I don't remember. She never finished them, but this was back before she was publishing books. Very film noir, fedora stuff going on there. Chibi Ganesha, for whatever reason. Is that a self-portrait? I think that is a self-portrait. Yeah. I guess I had a headache. Oh, we won't show that next one. That's a little bit much. But it's a goldfish with sunglasses. Oh, this was my wife's cat, Spider. I can tell from the face. I think I was in that era of where, you know, how you draw one eye and it's perfect and you know the other one's never going to match. Some Crack Monkeys. My old website way back when was Crack Monkey Productions. I do not use that anymore because I can see where it might have some connotations that are less than good. Figure drawing, animal head sketches, some characters in Halloween costumes, characters of mine. Looks like I wasn't sure what DS was going to be, but I thought maybe Beetlejuice, probably from the movies. Yeah, I definitely didn't finish this. Ocean's just a little creepy Wednesday Addams-ish dead girl. I don't know. Maybe fan art for some anime character? I'm not sure. Struggled with the hands a little, I guess. This is the albino king Elar that I know there was some art of in the previous sketchbook. Never finished this picture, but I was going to have him walking in the snow. His foot's not weird. His foot's like half buried in snow. It's supposed to be snowy. So yeah. Don't know why I never got around to the face, but Owen and Puck again. Chibi versions. This is also Elar and his mother when he was a little kid. God, I have this posted a few places for a while. That says, if you lived here, you'd be dead. I mean, yeah. It was that era. I love pirates, so of course I was obsessed with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. From the Courtney Crumrin comics again, we have the Fae King there, Twilight King, and Aloysius. Zelgadis from Slayers, who I used to RPS. Some fan art of Conti from Fooly Cooly. I'm stacking them here because it's like a photocopy of the same thing. But not bad art. Never colored it. Probably intended to color it on the computer and just never got around to it. But drawing robots is not my forte, but not bad. By the way, this first section here is probably going to be one of the biggest. Some of the others are probably not going to be as big. I believe that's my wife as the dove, and I was probably going to have myself as the raven. Down here, it looks like crouching. We had some Halloween costumes that was definitely based off of one of many Fresh Coffee sketches. It's a comic that has never fully gotten off the ground. Oh boy, I'm not going to read all this stuff, but some characters and story ideas. A character profile. That's definitely GURPS format with just the 4 stats for Jeanette, who you may remember from the Spire comics. I don't know. It's a face. Unfinished colored pencil on black paper mermaid picture. Don't know why unfinished. Kind of neat. Back in the days before the internet was as reliable, we would cut things out of magazines for reference. I was trying to get men's pants. That's what that was. That was just a cool picture of the sky. That was a cool picture that was in the paper. Somewhere there's a Sandman fan art thing that I did with that pose. The librarian again. There's a color version of that picture somewhere. Dirk Gently, DS, and Terrence Colburn in a bar. DS is not wrong. I do like his expression there. I draw his face a little bit longer these days, I think, but otherwise not too different. So that's the first section. Oh my gosh, putting these back is going to be a nightmare. Alright, there's some other stuff that's lingering in there. I guess I'll put them back different ways. Courtney Crumman and Aloysius as cats, because reasons. This is one of my wife's characters. She's a goddess of fertility. I think that's watercolor pencil. More Mo's and Wrath, very cartoon style. Oh, this is an old piece, but definitely a good one, of Mo's and Wrath in a more realistic style. One of my classic furry art pieces. Yeah. That's Dr. Schreiber from Dark City as a mouse. A white lab rat, really. This was definitely fan art for some kind of contest. I do not remember the names of the characters. They were very anime-esque characters. That's them kind of normal, and then we got like a little sequence of their familiars or whatever getting into a fight. My character Raven Dreamwalker in ballpoint pen definitely was going for some realism here. That's not half bad. Getting better at people all the time. That's Mad Eye Moody watching Lupin as he's chained up for his transformation. My wife and I used to like Harry Potter back in the day. I kind of like the shading. It's color pencil. But yeah, some of that wood grain and shading and stuff is really detailed. There's a very old, very insecure self-portrait. I used to routinely draw chibi self-portraits of myself. I got into this habit through the early aughts. That's clearly me listening to music. I don't know if these are in date order or not. This is getting a little bit more stylized, more anime stylized. Again, we got the hat. I still have that kind of hat. The checkerboard shoelaces. I got the punk-ass bracelet things. I still have those. And a hoodie and a white button-down shirt and jeans. This is definitely a look. This is almost the same clothing. But here we've gotten into the chibiness of it. Different shirt, different jacket, but yeah. Didn't finish the logo, but I think that was supposed to be my Pirates of the Caribbean t-shirt there. This was the most sexy punk-ass shirt I ever owned. These are all real clothing that I had. God, I miss that shirt. I mean, it was very much a girl shirt. Well, I don't know. It might not look bad on me as a guy, but maybe not at my age. But yeah, it was a very like fishnet sleeves and fishnet peekaboo sides, very punk, very cool. I will never again be that cool. But I was in my early 20s. More casual look. We can see it was June of 05. I wish I had dates on all of these. You know, and you'll see my hair go from short to long to short. Really liked the white outlining on this one, I remember. I loved this one for a while. I do have that pirate flag. It is a pirate flag that I actually made. But yeah, obviously I was going through a short hair phase here. I wouldn't say they're all necessarily chibi, but they're definitely stylized. And yeah, that's probably getting more into the fall or maybe even winter. We got some stockings underneath the pants, some longer sleeves. I think we got some short hair growing out here. That might be the last one. I don't know why I stopped. It was a thing for a while. This is art from my friend Gabe, who sent me some stuff because he's awesome. Some of my wife's art. I don't know. That's my wife's. And my wife made me a very colorful aardvark with wings. I've talked some about Damien Stockholm, which, you know, I have his first comic up online now. I don't think this is like giving anything away. But this is all stuff of him. I don't know what's going on with this cartoon, but it's about not getting anime. There was a niece of a friend of ours online who was very enamored with him for a while there, and I drew him a lot for her, drew him interacting with her. This is him with one of my wife's characters. Very casual look there. But yeah, that really helped me, I think, get the style of him down. That was him with an online friend that I haven't RP'd with for a while, but I'm still in contact with her in person. It's like some of these are just, you know, general sketches of him. And then we have some other characters that occupy the same universe, or will eventually, if I get that far in the comics. Oh, this is one of my wife's characters, and that's her art. But I may have art of him. There's a postcard of some people sitting in a laundromat. Because DS does apartment living. I was trying to get some photo reference. Like I said, the internet didn't used to be as good for photo reference as it is now. Well, actually, the internet wasn't good for photo reference, and then it was great for photo reference, and now it's kind of terrible again because AI has destroyed everything. But yeah, these were some of the pictures that I drew for the niece of our friend, and it really kind of helped me get his body type down, just because I was drawing him so much. This is him and some of my wife's characters doing a Matrix parody. I don't know. That was for a Valentine gift for my wife. But, yeah. Him and I think this... Oh, not the same characters that were in the other one. These are some different characters. But at the beach. No comment. Him and one of my wife's characters. Well, I think you saw the chibi. This is my wife's art, by the way. This is not my drawing. Sears. Boy, that dates things right there. He's sitting on Wu Fei from Gundam Wing. Don't ask. We had some weird hijinks online. Sexy times picture, again, drawn by my wife. So sexy, they haven't gotten around to actually doing anything. But, oh, there's a whole sequence of pictures here that was a comic for that girl. I don't know the context anymore. It's been so long. But, again, I feel like I kind of got down his costume and his proportions and everything just by virtue of drawing him a bunch. That's him with, is it Troa? I don't know. It's another character from Gundam Wing. The kid liked Gundam Wing. It was a thing back then. That's another one of my wife's art. These are not hints. This is like random AU roleplay things that we did. And she be him and the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know. That's terrifying. It's very anime, though. I will say this is, I think that was supposed to be him on that page as well. Some of these are of a character named Iakane, who I will not go into, but that's him there too. He will interact with Diaz at some point, and I'm not going to go over this, but this is a whole comic that my wife made for me. And yes, it is a comic with like an anime bubblegum witch and DS. It's truly adorable. Oh, she's got like the printed text for it. She did not finish it, but this is the guy referenced as Fuzzy before, Daniel. It's another character, may or may not end up. I mean, he's in the same universe, but may or may not end up in the comics. We'll see. In his Fuzzy in his various states. No, he is not a Sasquatch. And you know, in between, he looks more like this. And on a good day, he looks more like this. But that's just the line art. That was some sketches. I'm gonna jump ahead one because this is another character that I've already showed a few pictures of and also is sort of from the same universe, which is Terrence Colburn. I'm trying to put these alternating ways. Who comes from my old RP character, Tam. So there's like some medieval pictures of Tam in here. This is 06. I was definitely getting better. That's an awkward and wrong way to hold a violin. His wrist is broken. I don't know. This is 2008. But yeah, Terrence Colburn is like a variation, modern variation of the same character. This is not a naked woman behind him. That's just the point it was at in the preliminary drawing that I had not put the clothes on yet. But yeah, lots of art of him. I could probably draw him better now, but you know, I was getting a lot better at people. Yes, he is an alcoholic. In case you wondered, just from the pictures alone. And the very, very, very first concept art of him, way back in the day, was more anime styled. And I think this was actually from like high school or college here, before I moved out here. So we went through some permutations. This is my wife's art on top. This is from another maybe comic thing someday that involves a whole lot of angels. That's one of the human characters there. But, yeah, just a bunch of angel characters. It could definitely use some more fleshing out. This one takes revenge for abused women, I believe. I used to play in Nominee back in the day, so definitely that was an influence. I believe that's just supposed to be Michael, the Archangel Michael. This is an angel of silence. He does not speak. That was just a frame. It is pronounced Davis, angel of the lost, who looks like a homeless guy. This is my wife's art of him with, I think, a little ghost girl, if I remember right. And the one that started it all way back in the day when I was still in college was a character I'd come up with that, again, probably loosely based off in Nominee, which was a very anime looking in her early pictures, Seraphim named Carla, who was supposed to be the angel of the internet. Don't ask me what that means, but I had ideas at the time. It was the late 90s. The internet was a different place. This is obviously the line work for that previous image. And then I colored them online or on Photoshop and printed them out with backgrounds and everything. Same thing, we've got the original line art and then the digital colored version. I don't know what is up with the white dress costume, but it's cool as hell. I had lots of ideas. It's an image of an angel falling. A lot of comments about if she's an angel of the internet, why aren't her boobs bigger? Because we know what a lot of people use the internet for. I don't know why, but this is her with Zelos from Slayers. Because reasons, I guess. We've got a lot of more random sketches here, but we got her up in the corner. I don't know. It's a lawyer angel with a briefcase. I'm not quite sure who that was supposed to be. This has gotten like stepped on. With some glowy silhouette seraphim type angels. Some ideas written out. I'm not going to go over those. Some of these were probably like, sketch ideas for comic pages. The Angel of the Road, that was one of my wife's characters. I think this might have been the little kid that was supposed to be in the other picture, maybe. She and I have created a lot of stuff together, so yeah, some of those angels are hers. Very briefly, there was a Cats RP online. Although this here is definitely me combining some characters with the Lackadaisy Cats style by Tracy Butler. That's Fisher, the familiar for Courtney Crumrin that we came up with again. Once again, the minute you take him out from looking like an ordinary cat, it gets a little weird because of, him being a tripod and all. But this was the main character that I was using for the Cats RP, which is a childhood character of mine named Noel, who is, loosely based off of Basil of Baker Street, honestly. But that's him and my wife's character, drawn for the Cats RP. So these would have been drawn when I was still in college, when I was still living with my parents. Him in a more catly form, and her character in a more catly form, and another friend of ours character. just some sketches. Oh, this is... Did I mention he was a very, very old character? This is the original art of him from, I don't know. I may have been in the double digits when I drew that, but not very far into them. There is no date on it. And this was like reference art from my friends, and I know whose character that was. And just some other cat character designs. Working with stylization. Like I said, a lot of these other sections are a little smaller. I've talked about Osen before. This is a more accurate kind of picture of her normal mode. For whatever reason, this is her in a fancy dress. Battle has clearly broken out and she has already ripped it. You know, fancy is just not her thing. And for whatever reason, her in pajamas. Also, yeah, Osen Disturbed at Night. 2001. So that would have been, what? April 2001. So not too long after I moved out here. And I was trying to adapt her for a different world idea. Oh boy. This is going to be mainly reference art, so I'm not going to linger on those pages because it's just printouts of pictures. But there is a little bit of fan art. As I said, I once upon a time played Zelgadis in an online roleplay. This is, I believe, my fan art of my wife's fan character, Manzi, who is a plant girl who came from the same creator, Zelgadis. Zell and Zelos interacting. Very unfinished beach episode picture of him sulking and wearing sunglasses. I think everybody else was going to be wearing beach wear. Zell in a business suit, because reasons. Sitting on Zelos, once again, wearing sunglasses. Sometimes you just want to get really immersed in a good cup of coffee. Mood. This is just a sketch, but I know I inked that in the computer and made a nice colored version of it. This is some of my wife's art of her character. Gowrie, Zelos, and Zelgadis is the Powerpuff Girls. I was pretty clear on who was who, just by hair color alone. It's my wife's character again. That's her art. And, yeah, you know, I'm not sure I ever quite nailed the anime style, but I was into it for a while. Briefly referenced the character of the Black Warlock before. This is him as a dragon. Never finished it, but gosh, that's some pretty good. That's a pretty good dragon design. Oh, I'll turn it the other way. Him getting his sexy on in a dressing gown. That looks like it's another go at dragon version. Him with my wife's character Leodan, who is a unicorn in chibi form. And this is her art of them together. Whoop. Sorry, I was looking at the next one, which is also him with the two pet dragons, Romulus and Remus, that the Black Warlock has. It's a lot of my wife's art here. Just Leodan dressed up in different costumes. And that's most of what's in here. except for at the very back, we have some unfinished stuff of Sean Yu. Kind of wish I'd finished that. Looks not half bad. Him in the snow, possibly contemplating attacking the village. Oh wow, this is old. Not just the drawing, but these were some symbols I was using for the Muse and the Fortune Teller on my ancient GeoCities website. And this it's an author's name, Mark Helprin, which I guess I had written down for my own reference. The book of his that I am most familiar with is A Winter's Tale, which I really love that book. But yeah, Sean Yu's proportions are wild. They so stylized the hell out of him in Mulan, but I know this. Oh God, it's got a thing on it. I know this is from college, from '99, and this was at the other end. Obviously, I used photo reference for the bird. Do not mind the text at the top. That was me testing the printers at my college, because I was in the graphic design course and was also the lab monitor, the person who ran the lab when classes were not in session. So, I had to mess around with the printers a lot to troubleshooting when they had issues. So yeah, that was my version of testing a printer, apparently. I have ever and always been myself. So yeah, not exactly a sketchbook, but certainly enough material there to fill one. And, a few odds and ends in here I didn't show, but that was the vast majority of it. And yeah, the next one will be an actual sketchbook again. And at some point, I'd like to go through some of my Inktober sketchbooks as well, maybe as it gets closer to Inktober. I did not manage it last year, and I'm actually still finishing up the Inktober from the year before that. But I'm trying to get those prompts finished so that I'll be ready and can try and do it this year. I don't use the official Inktober prompts. I just kind of make up my own. But, or find lists on Pinterest and stuff. But, yeah, that is a sketchbook walkthrough, so to speak. And I'll see you guys in the next one.